Hello everyone, this is the second lecture of control system. In this video we are going to see about the mechanical systems. So basically we have two types of mechanical system. One is translational, means linear, and another is rotational. So now we will see the basic difference between these two types of mechanical system. So in translational or linear system, we have input as force and output as linear displacement x or linear velocity v. But in rotational system, we have input as torque t and output as angular displacement theta or angular velocity omega. Then both have three ideal elements. So first ideal element in translational system is mass element and the corresponding element in rotational system is inertia element. So mass element is denoted by m, and this force which is input is equal to ma, and a is acceleration, also known as dv by dt, and similarly f is equal to m into double differentiation of displacement with respect to time. Then in rotational system, torque acting is equal to j into d omega by dt, where omega is angular velocity, or t is equal to j double differentiation of angular displacement with respect to time. Here I have denoted it by j, but it can be written as I or j or similar thing. Then we have this damper element. So damper element is also known as friction. It can be denoted by B or it can be denoted by F. So force acting here is equal to B into V1 minus V2, or we can write as BV, where V is equal to V1 minus V2. Similarly, in terms of displacement, force is equal to B into differentiation of x1 minus x2, or B into dx by dt, where x is x1 minus x2. Now the corresponding damper element in mechanical rotational system is torsional damper element. Here again it can be noted by B or F. So here torque is equal to B into omega 1 minus omega 2, or B omega, where omega is omega 1 minus omega 2. Also torque is equal to B differentiation of theta 1 minus theta 2, or B d theta by dt, where theta is theta 1 minus theta 2. Okay, then the third element is the spring element. So we all know that force acting is equal to kx, where x is displacement. Therefore, F is equal to k x1 minus x2, or F is equal to kx, where x is x1 minus x2. In terms of velocity, F is equal to k integration of v1 minus v2, or F is equal to k integration of v, where v is v1 minus v2. The important thing here is to notice that where you are using integration and where you are using differentiation and where you are using nothing. So all this will help you in writing the equations. Now for mechanical rotational system, you have torsional spring element. So here torque is equal to k into integration of omega 1 minus omega 2, or torque is equal to k into integration of omega, where omega is omega 1 minus omega 2. In terms of angular displacement theta, t is equal to k into theta 1 minus theta 2, or t is equal to k theta, where theta is theta 1 minus theta 2. This k is also known as stiffness. So this was your spring element. Now we will study about the analogous system. So analogous system are basically the electrical equivalents of mechanical systems. We will see this. Okay, so I know this is a little bit congested, but to differentiate between all these four types, I have to represent them in single slide. So here we have mechanical translational and mechanical rotational system, and then their analogous electrical system in terms of voltage and current. So this is your mass element, and here this is spring element, it is damper, and then this is the force acting. So this F is equal to F1, which is force due to this mass element, then F2, which is the force due to damper element, and then plus F3, which is the force due to spring element. So F is equal to m dv by dt plus bv plus k integration of v dot dt, where v is velocity here. And then in terms of displacement, F is equal to m into double differentiation of displacement with respect to time plus b dx by dt plus kx. And we all know v is equal to dx by dt. So by using this, we have written this equation. Now for rotational system, this mass element becomes inertia element J. So now the net torque T is equal to torque due to this inertia element T1, which is J into d omega by dt, plus torque due to damper element or friction, which is b omega, plus T3. T3 is the torque due to spring element. So it is equal to k into integration of omega, and we all know omega is equal to d theta by dt. Therefore, in terms of angular displacement, T is equal to J into double differentiation of theta with respect to time plus b d theta by dt plus k theta. Now they are analogous in electrical system. So for voltage, this V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3, and we all know that V is equal to L di by dt plus Ri plus 1 upon c integration of I dt, and I is what? Rate of change of charge. Q is the charge, therefore dq by dt. So in terms of charge, we can write voltage V is equal to L double differentiation of charge with respect to time, then plus R into single differentiation of Q with respect to time, and then plus Q upon C. Now the electrical analogous system with respect to current, we have this. See, here we have done mesh analysis, and here we are doing nodal analysis. So the total current I flowing is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3, and I1 is equal to C dV by dt, where this is your voltage V, plus V by R plus 1 upon L integration of V dt. So this is your I2. And we all know voltage is equal to rate of change of flux. So flux is noted by phi. Therefore, V is equal to d phi by dt. In terms of flux, current I is equal to C double differentiation of flux with respect to time plus 1 upon R d phi by dt plus phi upon L. Okay, so now here you can see that here it is force, then in second it becomes torque, then in electrical system it becomes voltage and current, then this displacement becomes angular displacement in this, and then electrical system it becomes charge and flux. Similarly, this velocity becomes angular velocity in rotational system, and in electrical system it becomes current in this third case, which is voltage case, and voltage in fourth case, which is current. So there it was confusing, so here I have mentioned it clearly. So force in translational system becomes torque in rotational system, and then it becomes voltage, and here current I. Mass m becomes inertia in rotational system, and inductor in voltage, and capacitor in this fourth case current or nodal system. Damping element B remains same but with a different name, torsional damping element. But in electrical system it becomes resistor R in voltage and conductor, which is 1 upon R in current. Then spring element also remains same in rotational system but with the added adjective of torsional, and in electrical system it becomes 1 upon C, means inverse of capacitor in voltage analogy, but in current analogy it becomes 1 upon inductor, which is inverse of inductor. Then velocity V becomes angular velocity here, and here it becomes current, and here it becomes voltage. And now integrate these things, then you will get this. So displacement x becomes angular displacement theta here, and here it becomes charge q, and here it becomes flux phi. So this whole chart is very important. It will help you in solving many questions. You have to remember all these relations. Therefore, I have represented in a chart. You can note it down also. Okay, so then we have gears. So what is gears? So gears are mechanical devices used as intermediate elements between electrical motors and load. So this is your motor and this is your load, and I have made them with a distance, but usually they are together. They are used for stepping up and stepping down, either torque or speed. They are analogous to electrical transformer. So in short, we can say gears are just like electrical transformers. And here we step up or down either torque or the speed. Here N is equal to the number of teeth. See, this is your teeth. R is the radius of the gear wheel in meters. Actually, this whole thing is a circular thing, but I have represented in a 2D form. Therefore, you are seeing a rectangle. And then angular displacement theta. Theta is your angular displacement and T is the torque on the gear wheel in Newton meter. Okay, now the dynamics of the gear train. Okay, for transformer, we all know that N1 upon N2 is equal to V1 upon V2 is equal to I2 upon I1. This is for transformers. Similarly, for gears, N1 upon N2 is equal to T1 upon T2 is equal to R1 upon R2. So it is same, and then here we have this opposite. So here N1 upon N2 is equal to theta 2 upon theta 1, omega 2 upon omega 1, alpha 2 upon alpha 1, where omega 2 is the angular velocity and alpha is your angular acceleration. So omega is equal to d phi by dt and alpha is equal to double differentiation of theta with respect to time or d omega by dt. So here you can see that this act as a voltage because N1 upon N2 is equal to T1 upon T2, 1 upon 2. But here it acts as a current. Why? Because 1 upon 2 is equal to 2 upon 1. See this inverse thing. This is just a short trick to remember. Okay, now let Tm be the motor torque in Newton meter and T1 is the torque on gear 1 due to this motor torque, and T2, this T2 is the torque on gear 2 due to T1. See, this all is attached. And then TL is the torque on load due to T2. Inertia of the gears are J1, J2, and friction of the gears, friction or damping element, both are same. So here we have denoted by B. Okay, so now for gear 1 we can write this Tm is equal to J1 into double differentiation of theta 1 with respect to time plus B1 into d theta 1 upon dt plus T1. So torque due to this motor is equal to torque due to this inertia element, torque due to this damper element, and then the net torque T1. And then for gear 2, T2 is equal to torque due to this inertia element J2, which is double differentiation of theta 2 with respect to time, plus torque due to this damper element, which is B2 d theta 2 upon dt, and plus this load TL. So now you know how to write these equations. So these were the two equations we have just written. And now we all know that N1 upon N2 is equal to T1 upon T2. So therefore we can write T1 is equal to N1 upon N2 into T2. So we will put this value of T2 here. Then we get T1 is equal to N1 upon N2 and then multiplied by this whole thing. So we get this, and now we will put this value of T1 in equation 1. So we get Tm is equal to this. So here you can see that we have both theta 1 and theta 2, both terms. And now we are going to change this equation in terms of either theta 1 or theta 2. So equivalent inertia and friction of motor side gear means gear 1. So this was your equation, and we all know N1 upon N2 is equal to theta 2 upon theta 1. Therefore, we can write theta 2 is equal to n1 upon n2 into theta 1. So we will remove all this theta 2 present here and write this in place of it. So we will get this equation, and then we are going to take common double differentiation stuff and single differentiation stuff and other stuffs. So we get this, and now we can write this whole thing as J equivalent 1, and similarly here it is B equivalent 1. So therefore this equivalent inertia element is equal to J1 plus n1 upon n2 whole square into J2. Similarly, B equivalent is equal to B1 plus n1 upon n2 whole square into B2. You can see that this is just like transformer, and these all are impedance of primary and impedance of secondary. So when we write the net equivalent impedance referred to primary side, then we write the primary impedance plus n1 upon n2 whole square into secondary impedance. So now you can relate these two things. Similarly, we will find equivalent inertia and friction element of load side, means gear 2. So this was your basic equation, and here now we will replace theta 1 and write this. So we will get this equation, and then we will do some adjustment by multiplying n2 upon n1 in all this equation, and we will get this. So now we will take common all the double differentiation stuff together and all the single differentiation stuff together and all the other elements together. So we get this. Now the J equivalent means inertia equivalent of load side or gear 2 is equal to J1 n2 upon n1 whole square plus J2, and B equivalent is equal to B1 n2 upon n1 whole square plus B2. And this is similar to transformers. How? When we write equivalent impedance with respect to secondary, we write Z primary and then n2 upon n1 whole square plus Z secondary or impedance of secondary. So now you can see that these two things are quite similar. Okay, so now we have a question from ESE 2004, and here instead of one we have two gears. So for the multiple gear system shown below, what is the equivalent inertia referred to the shaft 1? So you have to find equivalent inertia referred to this shaft. See, it was MCQ, means there were multiple options, but I have changed this question a little bit to give you the idea of how to find J equivalent in such cases. So now for J equivalent referred to shaft 1, we will do just like in transformers. So this J3 when referred to here, then it will become n3 upon n4 whole square J3, and when this is referred to here, it will become n1 upon n2 then into n3 upon n4 whole square J3, and this J2 when referred to this, then it will become n1 upon n2 whole square J2, and J1 will remain like this. Therefore equivalent inertia referred to shaft 1 is equal to J1 plus J2 into n1 upon n2 whole square plus J3 into n1 upon n2 into n3 upon n4 whole square. So this is your answer. And now if you have to find the equivalent impedance here referred to shaft 2, then how you will write? So for shaft 2, J2 will remain like this, and J3 will become this, and J1 will become n2 upon n1 whole square. Therefore, J equivalent referred to shaft 2 is equal to J1 n2 upon n1 whole square plus J2 plus J3 into n3 upon n4 whole square. And now when you have to find the equivalent inertia element at shaft 3, so J3 will remain like this, and J2 will become n4 upon n3 whole square into J2, and now this J1 will go here, so it will become n2 upon n1 into n4 upon n3 whole square and then into J1. Therefore, J equivalent refer to shaft 3 is equal to J1 N2 upon N1 into N4 upon N3 whole square plus J2 N4 upon N3 whole square plus J3. So here there is a short trick you can remember. For shaft 1, you can write here things like odd upon even. See here. And for shaft 3, you can write even upon odd. This is just a short trick to notice, but since you know the concept, so I don't think you need this to remember these formula. Just stick to the basic concept. So now we are going to see this nodal method. This method is used to draw mechanical equivalent of this diagram and also the electrical analogous circuits. So basically it is used whenever we have more than one mass element. So in this case we have two mass element. So for drawing its mechanical equivalent diagram, we will first draw the nodes. So number of nodes is equal to number of displacements. So here we have two displacements, x1 and x2. Therefore we will draw two nodes. So this is your x1 and this is your x2. And then take additional node, which is a reference node. So this is your reference node. And now connect the mass or the inertia elements between the principal node and the reference node only. So we have two mass element here. Therefore M1 is between x1 and the reference, and M2 is between x2 and the reference. And then connect the spring and the damping element either between the principal nodes or between the principal node or reference, depending on their position. So here we have three other elements. So K1 is between displacement and the reference. Therefore we will write here. So this is your K1. Similarly, we will draw F1, which is between mass M1 and reference. So this is your F1, which is between x1 and the reference. It can be denoted by B1 or it can be noted by small f1. Both are same. It is damper or frictional element. And then the last element is K12. So this K12 is between these two displacements. Therefore, we will write here. And then since it's a nodal diagram, so this force acting will act as a current. And we all know that it is acting on x1. Therefore, we will write it like this. So now this is your equivalent nodal diagram, and now we will write the describing equation at each node x1 and x2. So first we will draw this nodal diagram properly. So this is your nodal diagram or mechanical equivalent diagram. Now it is in proper form, you can see. So now at node x1, force acting. So here we will apply the nodal analysis here and here. So the current incoming is equal to current going. So this is equal to m1 into double differentiation of x1 with respect to time, and then f1 into dx1 by dt plus k1 x1 plus k12, and then the difference between these two nodes, which is x1 minus x2. Similarly at x2, since there is no external force, therefore we write 0, and then it is equal to m2 here into double differentiation of x2 with respect to time, then plus k12, this is k12, then into x2 minus x1. So these two equations are very important. We have just derived this for this circuit, and now we will modify these two equations to get the other equivalents. And here we will take x1 common. So we get fs is equal to x1 into this minus x2 into this, and x2 into this is equal to x1 into this. So from this equation you can find the value of x2 in terms of x1, and then you will place this value of x2 here. So we will get this equation. And now the transfer function. So transfer function is output upon input. Output is x1s and input is fs. Therefore, this is your transfer equation for displacement 1. So this is a transfer function for this mechanical equivalent diagram with respect to x1. Now if you multiply this whole thing and expand this, then you will get terms like s to the power 4 plus something, then s to the power 3 and so on. So the highest power here would be 4. See, this is square and this is your square. And the order of the system is the highest power of s in the denominator. So in this case, order of the system is 4 because the highest power of s in denominator is 4. So we can see that whenever we have one mass element, then the order of mechanical system is 2. And when we have two mass element, then the order of the mechanical system is 4, just like in our case. And similarly, when there is 3 mass element, then the order of mechanical system is 6. So we can conclude that whenever there is n mass element, then the order of mechanical system becomes 2n. This is important to remember. It can be asked in objective questions. Okay, so now we will draw the analogous electrical system, which is force voltage analogy here. So these were the two equations which we have derived from the nodal diagram, and now we will replace all these mechanical terms by its equivalent electrical terms using this FE analogy. I have shown you this analogy in a big chart form, and now this is in short. So F becomes V, which is voltage, M1 becomes inductor, X becomes charge, and F1 is also written as B1. Therefore B1 becomes R, and K1 becomes 1 upon C. So we will rewrite this equation in electrical equivalent terms and we will get this. And now we all know that what is Q? Q is charge or integration of I dt. Also dq by dt is equal to I, and double differentiation of charge with respect to time is equal to di by dt. Therefore we will replace all the Q terms by I and we get these two equations. So now using these two equations which we have just derived, we will draw its electrical equivalent diagram. So here you can see that it's kind of mesh, and here you have two currents, I1 and I2. So it means you have two meshes. Therefore you can draw the circuit like this, and then V is equal to L1 di1 by dt. Therefore you will draw first inductor, and then we have this resistor and then capacitor, and then you have 1 upon C12 integration of I1 minus I2. So this means this capacitor is between these two loops. Therefore we will draw capacitor here and this loop is completed. Now the second mesh. So now we have drawn this capacitor and now only this inductor is left. So we will draw inductor here like this. And this is your electrical equivalent diagram with force voltage analogy. So you can see for any mechanical diagram, you have to first draw its equivalent diagram and then write its equation, and then using this force voltage analogy, you will write the equation like this, and then you will turn those equation into this diagram. I know it's a lengthy process, therefore it is not asked for objective of few marks. Instead, they ask the analogy, which is how in force voltage analogy B is related to what and then mass element is related to what. So such type of questions can be asked. And now we will draw the analogous electrical system using FI analogy. So here again I have drawn this chart for writing things easily. You can also do like this. So these were the two equations, and now we will replace all the mechanical terms by its equivalent electrical terms from here. So we will get these two equations, and now you can see that these two equations contains the term phi. But for drawing the electrical equivalent diagram or circuit, we need voltage, not phi. Therefore, we will replace this phi by voltage using this. So phi is equal to integration of V dot dt. Then d phi by dt is equal to voltage, and double differentiation of flux with respect to time is equal to single differentiation of voltage with respect to time. So finally we will get this equation, and since it's a force current analogy, therefore we will get the nodal system here. So these are the two equations, and since it's a force current analogy, therefore we will get the nodal equations. We will do the nodal analysis. And now here you can see that you have two voltages V1 and V2. Therefore we will say there are two nodes V1 and V2, and then the total current I in coming to this node 1 is equal to C1 dV1 by dt. So here we will add this capacitor, and then plus V1 by R. So this is your R, and then 1 upon L1 integration of V1 dot dt. So this is your inductor, and then plus 1 upon L1 to V1 minus V2. So this means this inductor is between these two nodes. So we will draw inductor here like this. And then in second equation, you have drawn this inductor, and now this capacitor is left, and here it contains only V2. Therefore it is between node 2 and reference. So this is your capacitor C2. So this is your electrical equivalent diagram using force current analogy. So this was your mechanical diagram, and then you draw its mechanical equivalent diagram and then write equation, and then using that analogy you write equations for electrical system, and then you draw this diagram. So this is the process you have to follow. One special thing you can notice from here, that mechanical equivalent diagram is quite similar to electrical equivalent diagram. You can see that instead of following this whole process, in this case only, not in force voltage, in force current analogy, you can first draw its mechanical equivalent diagram, and then you can just replace the terms Fm1, K1, then F1 and M2 by its equivalent Fi analogy terms here, and you will get the equivalent diagram. There is no need to write equation and then form, as current analogy diagram and nodal analogy diagrams are same. So you can use this trick to solve questions easily in less time, and that's why Fi analogy is asked more, because of this similarity. So you have this question from ESE 2004. I have modified it little bit to get a better idea of this question. So consider mechanical system shown in the diagram below. This is a mechanical system, and you have to draw its force current analogous electrical circuit. Okay, so this part was not in the question. I have drawn this to make things easier. So first we will draw its nodal diagram. So the number of nodes is equal to the number of displacement. So we will write here, this is your x1 and this is your x2. And then we will draw a reference also. So this is your reference node. And then we will add the mass element between the node and the reference. So this was M1, and now we will draw M2 here between X2 and this reference. And since it's a nodal diagram, therefore this F1 will act as a current source. Therefore this is your current source F1. It is acting at X1, therefore we have attached this current source or this force here in X1. And then this B2 is attached to M2 and this wall. Therefore we will add here B2, and similarly you will add K2 here, and then this B12 and K12 is attached between M2 and N1. Therefore we will add here, this is your B12 and this is your K12, and then again K1 is attached between M2 and M1. So this is your K1. So now this is your equivalent nodal diagram, and now you have to draw its force current analogous electrical circuit. So here you have two options. Either you write its equation from here and then convert it using this analogy and then draw its equivalent diagram, or you just replace here mechanical terms with its electrical equivalent terms, because we all know that nodal diagram and force current analogy diagrams are almost same. Therefore we can write this as, here current is flowing I, and what is M? M is capacitor in this case, therefore we will draw a capacitor here. So this is your C1, and X1 becomes phi1, or you can also say V1 also. Then B becomes 1 upon R, so we can write here as R, and then K becomes inductor. So this is your inductor, R12 and L12. Then X2 is your V2. Mass is again your capacitor. So this is your C2. And then V2 becomes a resistor, therefore R2, and then again you have this K2, which is inductor, and then this K1. So this K1 here becomes inductor L1. So this is your required force current analogy diagram. So I've drawn here in a proper way. So this is how you're going to solve these questions, and you can see that they are not difficult, they are quite easy. So this was all about mechanical systems and their equivalent electrical systems. We will continue this subject in further lectures. For any queries, you can comment below. Thank you.